Dear students, welcome back to Geography class. We are learning about the annual movement of the Earth, that means the revolution of the Earth. In this diagram, the revolution of the Earth around the Sun along its orbital path is represented. So that movement is lead to the occurrence of seasons. Other than the movement of the Earth along the orbital path, there are many other reasons for the occurrence of seasons. One of the reason is the inclination of the Earth's axis, and the other reason the spherical shape of the Earth and the rotation of the Earth. We already learned about the inclination of the Earth's axis and the rotation of the Earth. Then related with the spherical shape of the Earth, we have to learn something more. Earth is a spherical object and it receives heat energy from the Sun. Sun is a large heavenly object. Because of that, the radiation from the Sun coming to the Earth in a vertical pattern. But when it is falling over the Earth's surface, due to its spherical shape, different parts receive heat energy in different pattern. For example, the central part means near to the equator, it receives a vertical or direct rays. That means the angle of incidence of the Sun's rays are 90 degree along the equatorial region. But when we are moving from equator to the poles, the curvature that increases. Because of that, the angle of incidence of the Sun's rays that decreases. So here the Sun's rays are falling over the Earth's surface in a slanting pattern. And when it reaches the polar region, it will be extremely slanting. So that rays we are calling as oblique rays. What is the difference between vertical rays and slanting rays? In this diagram, it is explained. So here vertical rays, they are concentrating over a small area. So the complete heat energy carried by the vertical rays are concentrating that region. So it is able to increase the temperature of that area. On the other hand, slanting rays, they are spreading over a large area. Because of that, heat energy is sharing over large region. So heating capacity of the slanting rays decreasing. Then another reason, here the atmosphere, through the atmosphere, vertical rays are moving for a short distance. But here the through the atmosphere, slanting rays are moving for a long distance. Because of that, what happens? Here the scattering of the radiation means it will be heat energy absorbed by the air molecules, cloud particles, etc. And scattering of the heat energy takes place here. And it will be less in the equatorial region as the vertical rays are passing through this area for a small distance. But here the radiation is passing through the atmosphere for a long distance. Because of that, the scattering of the heat radiation or the light energy that is more in the atmosphere. Because of that, the energy reaches over the Earth's surface also will be decreasing. That's why vertical rays are hotter than the slanting rays. As I told you earlier, occurrence of seasons are related with the four factors. One is the revolutionary movement of the Earth along the orbital path around the Sun. Second one is inclination of the Earth's axis. You can see when the Earth is moving along the orbital path, it is always tilted in its axis. Means the angle of tilting is 23.5 degree from the vertical, or from the orbital path it will be 66.5 degree. So that will be always same, and that leads to the difference in the duration of day and night. Then rotational movement of the Earth, that is also related with the occurrence of seasons. This line, it shows a boundary between lighted part and the darkened part of the Earth. So this part is illuminated by the rays of the Sun, and this part is not illuminated. So this line which separate the daytime and night time, it is named as circle of illumination. Circle of illumination is an imaginary line that separate lighted part from the darkened part. So this lighted part, according to the rotation of the Earth, the sunrise and sunset taking place, its time will be different for different parts of the Earth. So circle of illumination will be moving from time to time according to the movement of the rotation. This diagram, Earth's different position along the orbital path is given. We already learned the shortest distance between Earth and the Sun, that is perihelion, and the longest distance between the Earth and the Sun is aphelion. So these other positions are given here to show the different dates related with the occurrence of seasons. Here on 21st March, Earth receives Sun's rays, but equatorial region it receives the direct rays of the Sun. That means throughout the world that particular day, that means on 21st March, it will be equal day and night. That means 12-hour day and 12-hour night. So this particular day is named as spring equinox for the northern hemisphere and autumn equinox for the southern hemisphere. That means which season northern hemisphere experiencing, its opposite season is experiencing in the southern hemisphere. So on 21st March days and nights are equal, and this day is named as spring equinox. Spring equinox, it is named as equinox because its meaning is equal day and night. So 12-hour day and 12-hour night on the day of spring equinox. The date is 21st March. And the sun is moving along its orbital path. You can see its axis is tilting, and when it reaches on 21st June, that means after 3 months, on 21st June, sun's direct rays will be falling over the Tropic of Cancer, means 23.5 degree north latitude. So that much days the sun's rays are moving from equator to the Tropic of Cancer, and 21st June the sun's rays are falling over the Tropic of Cancer. We will feel sun is standing still. So that particular day is named as a solstice. So as it is summer for the northern hemisphere, it is summer solstice, and it is winter for the southern hemisphere, it is winter solstice for the southern hemisphere. The particular feature of these days are, from this diagram you can understand the lighted part is more here, and here the lighted part is means the darkened part is less. This part shows the night and this part shows the daytime. So daytime is more for the northern hemisphere, but nighttime is less for the northern hemisphere. On the other hand, for the southern hemisphere, duration of day is less, but duration of night is more. So for the northern hemisphere, 21st June is the longest day, and 21st June is the shortest night. And for the southern hemisphere, 21st June is the shortest day, and 21st June is the longest night. So it is the summer solstice day is 21st June. And when we continue on the orbital path after 3 months, that means on 23rd September, again sun will be overhead of the equator. So that day is named as autumn equinox for the northern hemisphere, and for the southern hemisphere it will be spring equinox. The peculiarity of that day is a 12-hour day and 12-hour night throughout the world. And again when we moving from autumn equinox or 23rd September, after 3 months we will experience the winter solstice. Winter solstice that experience on 22nd December. On that particular day, the sun vertically overhead of the Tropic of Capricorn. So southern hemisphere experiencing long duration of day, and northern hemisphere experiencing short day. So here you can see the north pole is tilting away from the sun and south pole is tilting towards the sun. That's why southern hemisphere experiencing long days and short nights. The northern pole is away from the sun, so it experiences a short day and long nights. Then we can say 22nd December, it is the longest day for southern hemisphere and shortest day for northern hemisphere. Otherwise we can say 21st December, northern hemisphere experiencing longest night and southern hemisphere experiencing shortest night. So after that, after 3 months, again it is a equinox. That means spring equinox for the northern hemisphere and autumnal equinox for the southern hemisphere. So you may be observed always in these different positions, axis is tilting, and some parts of the year the north pole is tilting towards the sun, and other part south pole is tilting towards the sun. So here two different movements are there that we will call as apparent migration of the sun. Apparent migration means if you are observing the sun every day, you may feel in the summer season the sun is rising little north of our place and setting in little north of our area. And in the winter season, sun rising from the south. That means the sun is moving towards the north or moving towards the south. So northward movement is named as Uttarayan and southward movement is named as Dakshinayan. Here, when the north pole is tilting towards the sun, those times are named as Uttarayan, and here the south pole is tilting towards the sun, those positions are named as Dakshinayan. Otherwise, we can say when sun is moving from Tropic of Capricorn, here from Tropic of Capricorn to the Tropic of Cancer, that is the Uttarayan period or northward movement. And when the sun is moving from Tropic of Cancer to Tropic of Capricorn, that is the Dakshinayan or a southward movement. So from this diagram, during the Uttarayan movement, from the spring equinox to the autumn equinox, the north pole is tilting towards the sun, and all this area experiencing sunlight. So that means here up to north pole, the duration of the daytime that increases. Equatorial region, it will be 12-hour daytime, but when it is going towards the north pole, the duration of daytime will be increasing, and at the north pole or beyond the Arctic Circle, it will be day for many months. That means here it will be 24 hours daytime, and for 6 months north pole will be experiencing complete daytime. And here you may be heard that Norway, the land of midnight sun. Why the Norway it is named as like that? Norway it is located very close to the north pole. In the summer seasons, means this northward movement period, the sun will be always overhead of the horizon there. They are never experiencing sunset during that period. That's why that particular phenomena experiencing. So Norway is named as a land of midnight sun. And the here southern hemisphere is tilting away from the sun. So here it is a night time. That means when north pole experiencing daytime for 24 hours or 6 months, south pole is experiencing night time for that complete period. That means there is no sunrise in the southern hemisphere. And in the next part of the year, that means the next half year, the north pole is tilting away from the sun. In this diagram you can find that. On the other hand, south pole is tilting towards the sun. Because of that, these places experiencing complete daytime. That means 24 hours daytime, and north pole experiencing 24 hours night time. This also experiencing here for around 6 months. All these are because of the tilting of the Earth's axis. When Earth experiencing, means northern hemisphere experiencing its summer days, south pole it experiences its night time. When the sun's charged particles, electrically charged particles come towards the Earth's surface, due to the collision with the Earth's magnetic field, these places experiencing a particular lightening effect. That phenomena is named as aurora australis in the southern hemisphere. And in the next part of the year, when north pole is tilting away from the sun and experiencing its night time, this phenomenon experiencing in northern pole, that is named as aurora borealis.